Hi everyone, I'm Jack. I am the technical data administrator for Ibstock, but I would say a more accurate description of my job role would be I use One Click LCA to produce our lifecycle analysis and to write our EPDs. I've been with the company for a few years now. I started out in our clay and brick laboratory, but made the move over to writing the EPDs about a year ago. So today I'm going to be talking a bit about our journey towards carbon reduction. So I'm going to be going over three main areas. So the first is about Ibstock, a bit about our history and our sustainability objectives. Secondly, about our EPD journey, where we started last year and what we've been up to so far and what we've managed to produce so far. And then finally, about how we're managing to use One Click, not just to produce our EPDs, but to drive real change and real carbon reduction and improvements to sustainability across our business. So a bit about Ibstock. We were a company based in Ibstock, that's where we get the name from. It's a village in Leicestershire. We started there around 200 years ago, and we have 3 manufacturing sites based there currently. So we have 2 brick manufacturing sites and a concrete site there at the minute, as well as 36 manufacturing locations across the UK, employing around 2,000 people. And while we're synonymous with brick making, that's not all we do. We have a diverse range of products, including fence posts, railway infrastructure, facades, retaining walls, roofing, flooring, and staircases and lift shafts. So sustainability at Ibstock is really important to us. We have our sustainability strategy for 2030 mapped out, and we've identified 9 key areas of what we need to focus on to become a more sustainable company. And these are product innovation, so achieving more as a high percentage of sales of new and sustainable products. Dematerialising, so reducing our raw material consumption, reducing our plastic packaging, and reducing the materials that go into our products. Increasing the circularity of our products, so reducing waste, trying to re-embed that waste into products. And then improving lives within our company. We want to become a more diverse company and have a proactive approach to that. We're keen at promoting development and education and have apprenticeship programs and earn and learn positions across all areas of our company. And ensuring that all of our employees are safe when they come to work. We're addressing biodiversity, aiming for a net gain in biodiversity. Reducing mains water usage, looking more into harvesting rainwater and using processed water in our factories. And finally, carbon reduction. So we have a target to reduce scope 1 and 2 emissions by 40% compared to our 2019 baseline for 2030, before moving on to net zero scope 1 and 2 by 2040. And then hopefully if we achieve all of these, we'll improve lives, manufacture materials for life, and address climate change. And then our path to net zero kind of complements this ESG strategy. So As part of our roadmap to net zero, we're looking at things like operational efficiencies, alternative energy sources and fuels, circularity, etc. And one thing One Click's really helped with so far is using the data that we've gathered from that, we can really develop this plan, and it sort of refines this process and helps us know exactly what we need to do in order to achieve this. So EPDs, our journey began with EPDs around June last year. This is when I started in the role that I'm currently in. I began the onboarding process with One Click, and we began to gather data from across the company and start putting this all together. This then led to October last year. We got our first EPD through the verification process. And then as of last month, we had over 20 EPDs verified, and also released our first EPD to the wider world, put this on our website and sent it around to customers. The rest of our EPDs we haven't released to the public yet. We're keeping those back for now with an aim to release them in June as part of sort of a big launch of them. We want to have the products at the top of the screen there will be what is included in the launch, so that in this launch we have as many products as possible to complement each other and give a bigger picture of the embodied carbon at the house. And then after this release date, to sort of continuously roll out EPDs across the hundreds of products that we manufacture. So it's a big challenge ahead, but we're already a good chunk of the way there, and yeah, aim to just continuously roll them out from now on. This is our first EPD that we released to the public. It's a rail trough. So for anyone who doesn't know, these are concrete troughing units that run alongside rail tracks. They house cables and electrical devices that enable the railways to run. So yeah, this is what the key parts from our EPD looks like. We've had graphics designed for the manufacturing processes, just to give a real clear indication of that, make it look interesting for the customers. As part of our process of producing EPDs, I thought it was important to take a step back and move away from like the acronyms and the real like heavy data and information, and think, what are these actually about? I think as sustainability we are quite acronym heavy, so things like EPD are easy to get lost and just become a tick box exercise, and something that people forget what it's actually all about. So when communicating this to our sales team and to our customers, I wanted to make EPDs as relatable and accessible as possible. One thing in terms of relatability that we like to do is compare the EPDs to nutritional labeling on food and drinks products. So so an analogy we like to use with our commercial teams is, if people were given a bottle like that, you wouldn't necessarily want to drink it. You don't know what's in it. It could be anything. But once it gets its labelling put on, people can control exactly what they're eating. And yeah, and EPDs are the same as this. So if, for example, for us with a brick, if you get given a brick, customers don't know the carbon content of this. They can't make informed choices. But with the addition of EPDs for our products, it allows customers to make these more informed choices going forwards. And I think this is what we need to remember, that it's about being competitive on this front and yeah, just letting everyone hopefully choose the most sustainable products that are out there. I think, as was touched on earlier, the EPDs can just be just a sea of data, which I think certainly before I started looking into started working with the EPDs, I wouldn't have a clue what any of this meant. It's like loads of scientific numbers, stuff like that. So what I've tried to do is put conversion tables attached to all of our EPDs. So this converts, it mainly focuses on the carbon aspect. I know EPDs cover a lot of environmental data, but I think at this stage the carbon aspect is what our customers are really focused on. So this kind of simplifies that table and converts it to, rather than having it as like a base unit, kilograms all of our EPDs are in, this converts it to what the embodied carbon for this product of 1 metre of this product is, or for our bricks, this will be able to give this in per tonne, per 1,000 bricks, or per metre squared of the product, just so when our customers have our EPDs on a table or our competitors, they can clearly see that comparison easily. They don't have to go digging for the data themselves. It's given to them basically. It makes them accessible for people who might not necessarily be on the sustainability teams for their organisations. The people that are buying the bricks, they'll just so this just makes it easy for them. And then the third topic I'm going to talk about is how we use One Click LCA beyond just generating EPDs, and how it has real value outside of this for our organisation. And I would say this is personally the highlight of my my role and what I enjoy doing the most. Firstly, One Click has helped us identify the sources of emissions. So as a business that has different areas, different manufacturing techniques, a lot of different products, these different areas have vastly different requirements for reducing embodied carbon and becoming more sustainable. So as our LCAs break down the different areas where the carbon's coming from, we're able to see what we need, where we can particularly focus on to reduce this. So for example, on our clay brick side of the business, most of our emissions come from the A3 stage, or the manufacturing side of the process, so what goes on inside our own factories. So that makes it clear that to target carbon reduction for this side of the business, the best thing to do is to target our factories themselves and implement processes that are going to reduce carbon here. But conversely, when making our precast concrete products, most of the source of carbon emissions there come from the A1 stage, or the extraction and production of raw materials. Therefore, with very little carbon there coming from our own factories. So therefore, in order to make the biggest difference in lowering embodied carbon of these precast concrete products, is to work with our suppliers to source lower embodied carbon raw materials there. And then something else that One Click has enabled us to look at is the value of transportation in both the A2 stage and the transportation of our raw materials to our factories, and the A4 stage, the transportation of our products to site. So sort of highlighting the importance of sourcing products locally, but allowing us to look at the trade-off of sourcing products further away that might have lower embodied carbon during their production. And then so something that we now do when creating new recipes is to run these through One Click LCA. So an example of this recently has been we're about to commission and launch our Atlas Pathfinder factory, which is looking to produce our lowest embodied carbon bricks to date. So how we've done this is with any recipe that we're producing there, I've been putting them all through the one-click tool, and this has allowed us to really fine-tune them and get them to be as low carbon possible as product, and to ensure that any changes that we were making there, or anything that we might want to add into the bricks, isn't going to have like a massive negative effect on the carbon, and this just allows us to now keep control of this. And as well as new product development, we also are now using this in existing product development. So I think in the past it's been easy to sort of find these like new raw materials and products to put into products, and like you get really excited about it. It comes down to it, it's actually not had a big as effect as you thought it would. This now, using One Click, allows us to, from the offset, plug in these materials, find out the actual real effect this is having on reducing the carbon when you take all factors into account, such as extraction and transportation, and just to ensure that we're actually getting as a bigger benefit as we thought on these. And conversely, the opposite can be true. Like before, we might have had ideas that were just kind of kicked to the curb, that we didn't think they were going to have a big effect, but now we plug everything into One Click and find out actually this is going to give us a big carbon reduction. So yeah, just to summarise, so we're dedicated to reducing the embodied carbon of our products. Very shortly we'll have a big range of our EPDs released, and just how important One Click is at the minute to reduce the embodied carbon of our products, and yeah, just how it's been so valuable in producing recipes from now on, and just making sure we're using the best products possible. Thank you.